Hey everybody, this is my 125 gallon tank and I want to shoot this video, keep it fairly brief, but I want to get it out there for people to see because I want to get other people's opinions on this. If you follow along with my videos, you know that I recently had an outbreak of columnaris in my native tank, and one of the fish that was in that tank was this tilapia here. And I brought it over into this tank before I realized what was going on in the other tank. So I've been keeping a very close watch on this one to make sure nothing bad happens or I don't get any issues. So this morning I come in and I look at my Tenopoma. He's got these white spots all over him. And at first I just thought they were bubbles, but there's no way bubbles, there's just no bubbles in this tank. I wouldn't know where they would have come from. So that's not a good sign. That to me looks more like ick than the columnaris description that I've read about and what I saw in my native tank. So I immediately started looking around, and if you'll notice some of the Congo tetras, that one right there, that one's got a bunch of white spots on it. See, you can see those little white specks all over him, and again, that looks far more to me like ick than it does anything else. My catfish has not as many, but white specks all over it, evenly dispersed all over its body. Again, more indicative of ick than columnaris. And it's not on everybody and every fish, so even the fish that have it, like the Congos, not every Congo has the white specks on them. But by far the worst of the fish in this tank is that Tenopoma. He's covered in them and they're very noticeable. My snakeskin gourami, as far as I can tell, doesn't have any. And the loaches don't have any, which is also unusual since the loaches are considered scaleless fish, even though that's not entirely true, but they are considered scaleless fish and therefore are very susceptible to getting ick. I haven't taken a good look at any of my little plecos that live on the bottom because they're the most susceptible, being, you know, ground dwellers, bottom dwellers, as the ick life cycle puts them in closest contact to the highly contagious form of it. They get it very quickly, and yet I don't see any. Oh, now I'm actually starting to notice this smaller loach does have spots on it, and we're seeing the traditional flashing behavior you get from an ick outbreak. So my main question to anybody watching this is, what does that look like to you? Does that look like columnaris or does that look like ick? I think it looks like ick, but I'm left baffled, and there, that loach back there is giving you textbook classic signs. If you see one of your fish doing that, that is absolutely textbook of an ick infection. Fish will flash from time to time, but excessive flashing, as you're seeing there, where it can't seem to stop scratching its body against rocks and stuff, that is indicative of an ick infection. So the question is how in the hell did I get ick in this tank? I do not believe that ick lies dormant. I think it's been pretty well proven that ick is a parasite that needs a host. If it doesn't have a host through one of its life cycles, it dies off. And yet, see, there's a better look at the catfish. Well, I don't know how well with the glare and everything, the spots are showing up, but he does have little speckles on him. Not nearly as bad as the Tenopoma. But he does have them on there. So if ick dies off in a tank with no fish, or it spreads to the fish that are in the tank and continues living, you know, the idea that this tank suddenly there's ick in it, I don't know how it got in here. I don't know where it possibly could have come from. The only differences I've done is adding the rainbow fish there, which were long established in another tank that is fine. And then, of course, I added this fish here that came from my native tank. So it's possible that this one could have been carrying ick already. Some of the fish that I brought in from the outside could have had ick. We'll never know at this point since I medicated the tank and all the fish in it died and everything else. They may very well have had ick. And I brought it over on that tilapia. But why doesn't the tilapia show any signs of it? I don't see a speck one on the tilapia. So I'm a bit puzzled as to how and where and what's going on and why I suddenly am having an ick outbreak in my 125. It doesn't make any sense to me. See, I can even see my big catfish is now starting to scrape on things. So I am already treating for ick. I've got the first dose in here, and hopefully within the next few days we'll start seeing some serious improvement. However, if anybody out there has had experience with columnaris and they believe that this is, this looks more to them like columnaris than ick, please let me know, and I'll change tack and start treating this tank very differently. I am also going to add 1 teaspoon per gallon of salt. And so if there is columnaris in the tank, that should do the trick, or at least be very significant in helping stem the outbreak until I can get on top of it with medication or something. Should be that be the case. Anyway, give me your 2 cents down below. Let me know what you think. Tell me whether you think that looks more like ick. Look, you can even now see my catfish is lying in the current. The spray bar there is facing down across the black glass, so what we were just seeing the catfish doing there was just lying in the current, which probably feels good when you have itchy skin with little irritants all over your body. So again, I'm going with this being an ick outbreak and nothing more serious than that at the moment. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure you comment, let me know what you think. Don't forget, this one is my 125-gallon tank, not to be confused with my 125-gallon native tank. So thanks again, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.